So within my private organization of Trader Society, we ended up having our biggest green day as a collective, as a team today. In terms of everyone's profits combined, we made over $300,000 as a team, and that's a lowball number. Just in swing trading alone, we made over six figures. With that being said, I want to give a big shout out to Dimitri and Jim C. They ended up swing trading puts along with many other members, and they alerted their trades in real time. Dimitri ended up making $30,000 in his TD Ameritrade account just off of swing trading SPY. Then he ended up day trading the SPY, and he made over $20,000. He bought puts at the exact peak at 413, and he sold his puts at open that he swing traded for a 50% plus profit return. With that being said, he had his biggest green day year to date, making over $50,000. One of the members ended up swing trading, made a $20,000 profit. Jim C made over a $50,000 profit. Just in swing trades, as soon as the market opened, there was over six figures in profits within Trader Society. And it did not stop there. We had people buy call options at the exact low of day today using the gap trading strategy. And we also had people buy put options and short the exact top on the SPY at the high of day at 413. And I'm going to show you how we're able to do that and know where the low and high of day is one day in advance. Because if you look at my key levels and the polls are in, look at the results. This is where hard work pays off, and this is where preparation pays off. We had 73 people green today and only 3 red. As a team as a whole, very low ball number. This was one of our most successful days, over $300,000 generated as a collective. With that being said, take a look at the plan, and I'm going to show you how we're able to do this one day in advance. This was my analysis for the SPY. The best level for calls, the best level to buy the SPY is at 408.04 for the gap close reversal. As you can see, the SPY partially filled the gap. It almost filled it right here. It went to $408.26, and it started reversing, and it got a new high of day, and it started spiking to nearly 410. So when it instantly dropped back towards that previous low right here, we had people scalping call options because they said it's already spiking, it's already reversing, it's already starting to spike. Let's buy the dip towards the gap close reversal. And they ended up targeting that oversold gap channel that we discussed 2 videos ago at $408.04. And if you watch that playlist, second link in the description, you will see it's the exact same pattern. We had an oversold gap to fill at 408.04. That's why we were targeting calls. They played it as a partial gap close reversal, meaning it partially fills the gap because SPY partially hit the gap in the morning and it spiked all the way to 410. And then it sold right back off towards the lows, and they bought calls because it already had a bullish bounce confirmation. And as you could see, in terms of the analysis, I said SPY gapped down yesterday, and then it rocketed back up to the previous closing price. The most likable outcome would be a short-term reversal to buy calls at 408 for a gap close reversal for a spike, and then play the puts at 413.98. That's the best level to short the SPY and play the puts. So SPY didn't fill the gap at 413.98, but during the middle of the day when SPY was at 412, I told people, I don't think the gap is going to fill. And if you want to do lotto puts and you want to do a partial gap close reversal and short the SPY, I told them $413 is going to be your best level to do that. With that being said, they ended up doing puts towards 412.80s, right towards the peak. Dimitri was in before me. He bought puts at the exact peak. And another reason why we bought puts as a partial gap close reversal is because the bearish M pattern, this is the Batman pattern, this right here, see how this looks like an M? See this M that's forming right here? Towards the end of the M, it just collapses. So you want to get it in towards the top, towards the peak, the spikes, right? And that's what people ended up doing for a partial gap close reversal. And then Biden gave a speech, and when he was done speaking, the market got crushed. So with that being said, man, we were able to short the SPY at the exact peak today and also buy calls at the exact low in terms of preparation. I made a lot of trades today. In terms of my trades today, I did a lot of scalps. I probably had about, I would say, 6 or 7 scalps. And I did end up taking some of Dimitri's trades, which were phenomenal. And I also took some of Top G's trades, which were great. And then I created some trades in terms of, just doing what I do on my own with patterns. And I'm going to show you the patterns in some of the trades that I ended up making. I did very well on Roku. I actually played Roku put options at the market open right here towards the peak of this spike, I played Roku put options. I was up 20% going with further date expirations. Some people went with the closer expirations. They made 40%. I nailed the peak of this at 72 and I sold the low. It was such a nice 5-minute scalp for a quick 20% win. But with that being said, man, first things first, before I recap the trades and show you how it is that we're able to bottom tick and top tick stocks and teach you the strategies, I'm going to quickly prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices. So in terms of the SPY, and what I want you to understand is we are towards the lower end of the channel. The market is also going to be closed for Monday. So like I said, I'm going to recap the trades and go over the strategy towards the end of this video. Let's just quickly get into the trading plan. So this is what I want you to understand. The SPY closed at 408.28. We basically closed at the gap. There's a gap to fill at 408.04, and there's a gap to fill above at 413.98. Your best level to short the SPY and buy the put options on the SPY is 413.98. Whether it's going to hit tomorrow, whether it's going to hit next week, whenever it happens, that's going to be your best level to short the SPY and buy put options. There is no excuse if you are watching this video and implementing the information that I'm giving. These key levels and these plans are hitting every single day, and they're the best prices to possibly get in at with the best risk to return ratios. If you're trying to have a very lucrative trading return, then buy puts at 413.98 instead of max risk, a max stop loss at 415, right? And then your profit target, you sell into the dips. You scale out into 413 into 412s, right? You scale out into dips. With that being said, that's your best level for puts. That should be a phenomenal put opportunity. When that opportunity rises, my team is going to short the top, and we will make hundreds of thousands of dollars in one single hour as a collective. Once Trader Society gets to 100,000 members, we will have 100,000 people targeting gaps. And if you do the math as a collective, as a whole, that will average around to about $8,000 profit. So we'll have some people making over 6 figures a day. We'll have some people making 5 figures a day. We already have multiple people making multi 5 figures a day. And we'll have some people make a couple thousand, couple $100 a day. As a collective, as a whole, if you do the math, 100,000 members times $1,000 average profit on a nice green day, that's $100 million on a targeted, oversold, and overbought gap. And what I'm telling you is 413.98 is the best price to short. That should make you more than enough to join Trader Society if you trade well and use a tight stop towards 415 and you scale out into the dips at 413 to 412. Do not blindly hold, scalp, get in, get out, right? So that's your best price for puts. I gave you the home run. There's the home run. Now, what do you need to understand right now? $408 is make or break. 408 is make or break support, and there's a gap to fill above, which means it's unattractive for puts. In terms of right now, everything's gapping down and everything does look bearish. It truly does. But we're not at an attractive level for puts because we're towards the bottom of the channel, and not just because we're towards the bottom of the channel and it's oversold, but because we're going to have gaps to fill. We have a gap to fill above at 413.98. And what I need you to understand is if the SPY ends up gapping down tomorrow, so right now it is gapping down, but it's a very small move, so we don't know yet. But right now it's at 406.90. If it gaps down, I would say the most likable outcome would likely be they try to reverse it and push it back up to fill the gap at 408.28. Then, if it hits 408.28, we should see a small drop. I wouldn't expect a massive drop. I would expect a little quick reversal, possibly something like right here where it fills the gap, it has a reversal, and then it could, not saying it's gonna, but it could potentially retest. And if it goes above the gap, then it goes super bullish, right? So what I'm telling you is this is what is likely to happen. If the SPY does gap down tomorrow, it is likely going to try to recover and hit 408.28, which is your previous support in your previous gap. Once it fills the gap at 408.28, it will likely see a small pullback for a quick scalping opportunity. If you were to buy puts at 408.28, the max pain and the max risk would be $409 on that. You do not risk any more than 409, and just know that's not the greatest level to play the gap at. And another thing that I want you to understand is if you ever see, and it's likely that this can happen as well, if you ever see it go back towards 408, or if you see 408.28, react as a floor, react as a support level. It's holding, it's breaking out, it's forming higher support, it's turning previous resistance into support, it's forming a floor, not a roof, not a resistance level. What they're going to do is they're going to try to go super bullish and start to fill the gap at 413.98. So your mindset should be we are at the lower end of the channel. If this does gap down, it is very likely it spikes back up to the previous closing price like it tried to do today, because it's just too oversold and there's going to be two gaps to fill above if it does gap down. Once it hits 408.28, the initial first reaction is likely going to be a small pullback. Then it's going to be a battle. They're going to try to break it back up to 408.28, and if they break it back above 408.28 and it turns into support, it goes super bullish, and then it starts to fill the gap at 413.98. As long as 408.28 remains a resistance level, then it's bearish, but we are at oversold levels that are not attractive to be bearish. The best thing you could truly do is do nothing and then just wait for it to go back to 414 and hit puts heavy. That's the best and easiest thing to do, is to just wait, whether that's going to be next week or whenever it happens, right? But in terms of my interest, I'm interested in two levels. 408.28, there's going to be a gap to fill tomorrow towards this key support level that is now cracking, and $414. Those are my two levels, best setups at the best prices. Initial reaction will likely be bearish at 408.28. If it ends up flipping bullish and turns it into support, then the SPY will go super bullish. If it does not turn into a floor and it doesn't flip it, then it will just continue to downtrend. But as a bear, I would not have high expectations and aim for big targets at such a low level. And I would be in very, very in and out. And I would respect that we're towards the low of the channel, even though things look bearish and we're cracking. I would respect the fact that it's not the best price, the best setup. And I would also respect the fact that if 408.28 turns into a floor, then we will be on track to see a massive move to the upside like we saw today, where it's going to start to fill the gap at 414, right? So understand where the traps are going to be created. The bull trap will be created at $413.98. The $408 level is going to be a bull and a bear trap level. It's going to be a battle. The first reaction, if it does gap down, should be bearish, and it should have a small pullback. But after that, I can see it being a battle. And if they push it back up above 408.28, then it's going to go super bullish, and the bulls will start to take control. There's going to be some flip-flops. It's going to be a lot of battle. It's at such an oversold, non-attractive level to play puts, right? Do not have high standards at poor levels. But with that being said, you need to understand it's going to be a make or break bull or bear trap at 408.28. In terms of certainty, we should see a small pullback at 408.28. In terms of 100% certainty, we should see a massive bull trap and a great crash at $414. Whenever it happens, I will be patient. I will put myself in the best position to succeed as a trader. Because if you want to be confident as a trader, you need competence. And my strategy and my work on charts gives me all the confidence in the world, because it has that competence. It works. It consistently works. SPY has a massive gap down. It fills the gap. It reverses. It gets crushed. SPY has a massive gap down right here at 415. 4 days later, it fills the gap right here. And then it has a reversal. It gets crushed. We hit puts on all those right here. SPY gaps down. It fills the gap. It gets crushed. Right here, SPY gaps down. It almost fills the gap. We saw the bearish M pattern. We played the puts. That is so much opportunity, and that is more than enough than you will ever need. If you want to change your life, just trade the key levels. Trade the best setups at the best prices. Put yourself in a position where you're trading the best setups at the best prices. You're becoming confident, and confidence will give you competence, which is going to be the most powerful feeling in the world. And you'll become very successful within that competence. Then with your profits, I want you to keep your profits and save those profits for the next best setup, which would be puts at $414. The 408 level will be a level that I'm targeting, but that's not 100% the best thing to be doing. And you have to be on the ball, and you cannot be holding and hoping. It's going to be a bull or bear trap. At first, it should be a little bull trap for a small pullback. Then they're going to try to flip it. We have to see. It's going to be in and out, laser quick scalping at 408.28. And I will respect the fact whether it's resistance or support. But what I will respect the most is if this is an oversold level at the end of the day. And if it does react to support, we got a gap to fill above at 414, and gaps tend to fill, right? So as a bear, I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, SPY is cracking, it's going to go super bearish. I'm sitting here saying, I better be fucking careful. And as a bull, I better be careful as well, because it cracks support and it's looking bearish. But as a bear, I'm sitting here saying I better be very careful because this is oversold support and we're going to have a gap to fill above at 414. And at some point that gap's going to want to fill. So I better be very, very careful instead of max pain and max risk, no holding hopes at $409, right? So I have that perspective. I can visually look at this chart and visually see how terrifying it would be to try to short the SPY at 408. Now, what would make it more attractive? So if I was to short the SPY at 408.28, what would make it more attractive to do that? A massive gap down. If it had a massive gap down instead of a little small baby gap, it would be a lot more attractive for me because that means it had a massive crash. And if it instantly rockets back up to 408.28, then it should have a nice little pullback. But if it's just going to have a tiny little gap down at 408.28, then it's not as attracting to me because it's not as bearish. It's not as big as an overreaction to the upside. You see how I think in terms of the strategy, right? So I understand where we're at. I see the channel. I see the overall support, and I will be focused on how it reacts. And I already understand in advance the most likable outcomes. If it gaps down, the most likable outcome is it pushes to 408.28, then it has a small pullback. Then it's going to be a battle where the bulls and bears try to fight. And if the bulls do rise above 408.28 after that and turn into support, it will go super bullish and start to fill the gap. It's very simple. Look at your support. Your wicks in your support is at 408s. Massive upside potential, massive upside potential. If it cracks and reacts as a resistance level, it's going to have a nice little pullback. If it breaks above and reacts to support level, it's going to have a nice spike and start to fill the gap at 414. Very simple. Don't get caught in the traps. Respect the floor. Respect the roof, whatever ends up forming, right? Switch sides, adapt, trade the best setups at the best prices, $408.04 and $414. That's my point of view, and that's where I stand in terms of this buy. Now, I'm going to quickly recap the trades and the strategies. So, why in my analysis in the pre-market, why did I say the best level for call options to buy the SPY calls was at $408.04? This is why I ended up saying that. So what did the SPY do? The SPY had a massive gap down. Okay, so if SPY has a massive gap down and people are swing trading puts, they're going to sell the open if they're smart and take their gains, right? Now, where would a bear trap get created? Where would a bear trap get created for a great dip buying opportunity for calls? Towards the bottom of the channel where a gap is waiting to fill. What's the bottom of the channel? Well, there's a lot of support with massive upside potential at $408, $408 all the way to $416, $408 all the way to $413, $408 all the way to $414, right? You see that support? Well, guess what? It wasn't too long ago where it was ripping off 408 with massive upside potential and very little downside potential. Best risk to return ratio possible. I would have been terrified to buy puts at open when SPY gaps down because it's at the best support level to buy. And not just because of the support of the channel. This is what's special about my support and my resistance. The gaps. There's a gap to fill at 408.04. SPY has been partially filling this gap at 408. It partially filled here and it spiked massively. It partially filled right here and it spiked massively. Sometimes they partially fill the gap and they end up having a reversal. So there was already confirmations that it was having partial gap close reversals with big upside potential, which is a confirmation to play it as a partial gap close reversal. Not only that, it had a massive gap down. When SPY has a massive gap down, it's going to try to create a short squeeze, a bear trap to push back up to start to fill the gap, right? So it hits the oversold support level towards the bottom of the channel. It hits this gap at 408.04. And if you see it partially hit that gap or hit that gap like it did right here, and then it has a massive spike, that's bullish. So that means history is starting to repeat itself. So if it drops back down towards that support level, you just buy the calls. It's already confirmed bullish. History's already repeating itself. That should give you confidence and competence. If you are buying calls right here towards the lows, you should be very confident because it already spiked nicely to 410. If you're buying calls right here, you might not be as much confident because it's not proven yet in terms of the intraday chart. But if it already spikes off the level and has a nice move, then you can be a little bit more confident and say, you know what, it's already ripping, it's already spiking. I'm just going to play it as a partial gap close reversal. We had people who were self-sufficient take advantage of that plan. While I was making other trades, I crushed Roku puts at the time, 20% profit return. We had people who were self-sufficient, took advantage of the plans, and the polls are in. This is what I'm talking about, man. You guys are studying now, and it's clicking, and you guys are getting it. It's not by accident that 73 people are green and 3 are red versus, a couple days ago, 29 red, 58 green, 57 green, 17 red. You guys are starting to catch on and you're starting to understand the strategy and you're starting to understand trade the best setups, the best prices. Just trade the key levels. Don't do the lotto trades. Just trade the best setups at the best prices. Compound your account. I want you to imagine this right here, this little tip I'm going to give you right here. When I was doing this, I had this one account where I was doing this and I got the craziest results on this account. Imagine having one account where you prepare one day in advance on what you're going to do. So you have a strategy, you see a pattern, you know exactly where the stock is going to reverse. You know the best price at the best setup one day in advance. So you see it, it's there, and you're ready to do it, right? What do? You wire money into the account the day you see it, or even the morning of the next day. It'll hit the same day. And then you trade the best setup at the best prices, you make money on the best setup, best price, wire the money out, and then rinse and repeat. Wait for another great opportunity. When you see it a day in advance, you're like, this is going to be a home run. I'm confident. I have competence in my strategy. I've used this strategy before. I know it works and I see it. I'm outside of the market. There's no emotions. I don't have any money attached to anything. I'm outside of the market. I see this opportunity. I see it with my third eye. I see the best setup at the best price and it's getting ready to set up. So then you wire money back into the account, make another trade, and then you take the money back out, rinse and repeat. Imagine having that discipline where you chose to just trade your plan and your plan was created one day in advance. And when you see that plan, you're like, yeah, this is worthy. This is worthy of wiring some money. This is worthy of taking some size. Wire the money into the account, trade the best set of this price, withdraw the money, rinse and repeat. Man, if you do that one little state, your results are going to be off the charts, man. If that's a good way to instill discipline and competence, because you're making sure you're only putting money into the account. Think about it, like you have to send a wire transfer, right? Not the most convenient thing to do depending on what bank you're using. So you better make sure that wire and that fee and just doing that extra work and that extra step is going to be worth it. You're going to make sure, man, I'm wiring money in this. This better be worth it. This better be a great opportunity. You're going to have that mindset. And I'm going to show you how to identify these setups. Like I'm showing you, man, this is why we're all bullish. It's at support. It's proven big upside potential. There's a gap to fill above at 414. So if it hits the gap and it rips and then it retraces back to the gap, we're going to buy calls, buy the stock and watch it pump right back up. This is why I said the most likable outcome is it hits $408 and then it starts to reverse for a spike to start to fill the gap. That's why we play puts when it fills the gap at 414. We don't play puts right here. Right here is where everybody's selling. This is where Dimitri, Jim C., all the other people were selling for 5-figure profits. They were selling their puts at the open because they know when SPY is at oversold support and it gaps down and it starts to fill the gap, it's going to try to reverse and it's going to try to squeeze back up. It's the same thing happening every single time. SPY gaps down, it reverses towards support and it starts to fill the gap above, right? So be aware of that pattern. That's where the bear trap is going to get created, at the gap support. It's proven support. Look, history tends to repeat itself. Proven support, there's a gap to fill, partially fills the gap, partially fills the gap, partially fills the gap. Every time it gaps down and hits that support level, what does it do? It reverses and it spikes to fill the gap, right? Every single time at open. This is why our best trades are made at market open, because that's where the gaps form, at that market open, right? So that's the name of the game. And then in terms of the put side, and then in terms of the short side, think about it. Look at the channel. SPY's at 408. If it goes back to 414 towards the top of this channel and fills this gap, it's gonna start to reverse. It's gonna start to crash. All the people who bought SPY at 414 became bag holders. So if it goes back to their entry for the first time and they're holding their bags, they're gonna say, I got the worst entry possible. Lucky me. Time to sell the bags. It's not time to double down. Do you want to double down and go long at the exact peak? Or do you want to short the stock, sell the calls, buy the puts? That's the name of the game. All the bag holders got created for the ones who swing traded the calls. The bulls got trapped. So notice how the bulls got trapped at the peak and the bears got trapped at the lows. Isn't that interesting? The bulls got trapped at the peak and the bears got trapped at the lows. But it's more than just basic support and resistance. There's a gap to fill below at $408. proven support, partial gap close reversal, partial gap close reversal, partial gap close reversal. Look at the trend. As of recently, every time SPY gaps down and hits that support, it spikes back up to fill the gap. Once it closes the gap, you short the SPY, because that's where all the bag holders got created. All the people who swing traded calls here, all the people who swing traded calls here, all the people who swing traded calls here got stuck holding the bag. So if it instantly goes back up to their initial entry, they are going to sell the bags. Think about it. If you bought a stock right here and it had a massive gap down and then it rocketed back up to your initial entry, wouldn't you get out? Wouldn't you sell it? Wouldn't you cut it, break even? I would, because then I would have the knowledge of, I got the worst entry possible. Lucky me, I'm going to sell the stock, get out, short the stock, switch to puts. Common sense, man. That's where all the selling pressure is going to be created. This one simple strategy I'm teaching you is the best trading strategy out there. I've been analyzing charts for my entire life since middle school. I've dedicated my entire life to this. I trade the charts. I trade price action. There is nothing better than this. I say that because the charts prove it. The reason why I am the truth is because I trade the charts. It's a work of art, man. You tell me. When SPY gaps down, do you want to buy puts at the low, or do you want to buy puts at the gap at the peak where all the bag holders got created and the swing traders banked on puts? I know what I'm doing. I'm waiting for the gap to fill and getting the best price possible, and I'm shorting the SPY there. Whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, whether it's next month, guess what? My team will be patient enough, and we will set our price alerts, and we will trade those best setups at the best prices. And when these gaps fill, those will be our biggest green days for gap close reversals. If SPY has a massive gap down and it's at the bottom of a support channel with big recent upside potential, and there's a gap to fill below at 408.04, that's where I'm buying calls. And then I'm buying puts at the top of that gap. That's the game, man. You do that and your life will change. Or you can do the opposite and you let me know how terrible your results are going to be, because it's all within the charts. You want to know what it is that I'm doing? I'm trading the charts. I'm trading the price action. I'm trading the candlesticks. I'm trading the gaps. Initial first time reaction only. So tomorrow we're going to be targeting 408.28, and we understand it's at an oversold support level. We better be careful, with puts, because it's at oversold support. We better be careful with calls because it's cracking and it's looking bearish. However, there is a gap to fill above at 414, which is another reason why I wouldn't be super bearish and I'd be extremely careful, and it just should be a quick scalp. I wouldn't have high expectations of holding hopes. Look, if you want to aim for a bigger win on puts at 414. Don't go aiming for a bigger win at support that cracked. Don't go doing that. When it goes back to 414, then you could say, you know what? This is a great entry. I'm going to aim for a bigger win. I'm going to scalp some. I'm going to hold some for a little bit. I'm going to aim for a bigger win. Okay, it looks bearish at 408. It had a nice crash. It's not at the best level, but I'm going to try the strategy. I'll take a smaller size. I'll get in. I'll get out. I'm not going to hold. I'm not going to aim for a bigger win because I understand it's not at the greatest level. And I understand within time, it'll go back up to 414 anyways. You must patiently wait to trade the best setups at the best prices. If you use the information that I'm giving you within this video that I'm making right here, right now, you target this gap at 414 whenever it happens, I can assure you, you will be in the best position to succeed. Don't you see what it is that I'm doing? I am planting money seeds. All of my price alerts are money seeds. This is a money seed. This idea to buy puts, it's a money seed at 414. I'm sitting on cash, chilling, doing whatever it is that I want to do with my life, because this opportunity of being a successful trader not only gives you financial freedom, but it gives you time and location freedom. I'm actually going to Colombia tomorrow. But with that being said, I'm sitting cash, waiting to trade the best setups at the best prices, waiting for all the bag holders to get created, waiting for the gaps to fill for reversals. That's what you must do. You must be disciplined. You will find confidence is found through competence. And I'm telling you, that changed my life. If you will become confident through competence by having a strategy that works because you are consistent with it. You are getting results with it. The chart is proving, wow, I'm getting the best entry possible. I shouldn't be afraid of buying puts at this gap right here, of buying puts at this gap right here at the exact peak, because there's very little upside potential with massive downside potential. I should double down. I should be confident. I should be competent in that, right? You have that skill set. You have that knowledge. When you have it, you're going to see how confident you are and how patient you start becoming. I'm telling you, most people become successful with what it is that I teach them, and then they start doing a bunch of other different things, and they start gambling, and they start making lotto trades, and they start becoming undisciplined, and they start becoming impatient. And guess what? They give away all their profits to what I didn't teach them. If you're making profit using what I'm teaching you, put the profit back into what I'm teaching you, not into something else. 100 units of energy. If you have 100 units of energy, the best chance of you succeeding is to put 100 of those units into one simple strategy. And in terms of what I'm optimizing for, it's genius, because it's the best price to short the stock and the best price to buy the stock. Where are you going to get a better entry? Where are you going to buy calls at the exact low for 408? Where are you going to buy puts at the exact top for 414? There is no better entry. I proved it. Watch the playlist. Watch every single video I post. You will see these are money seeds. When these gaps fill, these are money seeds printing, right? We don't know when this gap is going to fill at 414, but when it fills, we know that's a money seed waiting to be printed, to short the SPY, to buy the put options. If you just patiently waited right here, this was a great seed. There was a gap to fill at 415. It had a massive crash. It took a couple days, but 4 days later, it filled the gap. We played puts at the peak, and it got crushed. History repeated itself. Gap close reversal. We waited for that opportunity. We weren't being degenerates and buying puts all the way down here. Learn to do nothing. Learn to do nothing. Learn to literally do nothing. Is this worthy of me not sitting on my cash, right? Cash is worthless. There's no value to cash. But you must sit on that cash and then use that cash to put yourself in an opportunity to make more cash. And you want to optimize that for the best opportunity possible, to trade the best setup at the best price. Optimize for a strategy where you are shorting the peak and you are buying the low. Why would you want to do the opposite? Why would you want to short the low and buy the peak? Why would you want to do that? You're going to have the worst risk to return ratio possible. Why would you want to buy calls? Why would you want to buy puts in short all the way down here when there's a gap to fill below, proven support, big upside potential, and it already had a massive gap down? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to buy calls and buy the breakout all the way up here where all the bag holders got created, where the stock collapsed? Why would you want to do that? And again, it's not just support and resistance. It's the gaps and it's the initial reactions only. The first time it hits 408, the first time it hits 414, after the gap's closed, it's already too late. The first initial reaction when it looks scary, when SPY's ripping and it's looking super bullish and it goes to 414 and everybody's scared, they're saying, oh, is it going to break out? Oh, no. You become confident and you play the puts and you short the SPY with a max risk of 415 with a great reward in your favor. That's what you do. You should be more confident than ever when it's at the best price. You shouldn't be scared of buying puts for the first time at 414 where there's no resistance. Look, there's no resistance at 414. There's no fucking resistance. How do I know it's going to be resistance? Because this is where all the bag holders got created. This is where all the bulls got destroyed. That's how I know before it is resistance. And you could also look back in the chart and you could say, oh, there is some resistance at 414. There is some resistance at 414, right? But that's not too important. What's important is stocks are having massive gap downs. If they instantly squeeze back up to fill the gaps, you're going to want to short them. You're going to want to play the puts for a quick scalping opportunity. That's the name of the game, man. If you use what I'm teaching you only within these video lessons, your life is going to start to change one trade at a time. Think about it, man. You're sitting on cash waiting for that one trade to get you out of retirement. So you're in retirement. When you see the opportunity, when you see the best setup at the best price, then you get out of retirement and you take the best setup at the best price. While you are in retirement, you're looking for opportunities. You're enjoying your life, doing whatever it is that you want to do, right? Enjoying the fruits of your labors, right? So that's what I want you to focus on. If you want to join Trader Society, we are raising the price in the middle of March. We're going to be raising the price in March. In the beginning of March, we're going to be raising the price. And I would encourage you to join right now. It is the best time to join to join the program. It is a one-time fee. It is lifetime access. I can assure you, these people who are going green, a lot of them, whenever you see a little green dot here, it's typically over the cost of the program. And we have a lot of people who are making thousands of dollars a day. We have a select group of people, Top G, Dimitri, Jim C, they're making 5 figures a day off of this program. I have people every single day giving me testimonials. I made $2,000 here. I made $1,000 here. All the profits are in. All of the results are in, man. They're crushing it because they're using the strategy. If they get off track and don't trade the key levels and do some random things, then they're going to be red. That's the reality. The market's going to reward discipline. The market's going to reward patiently waiting for the best set of the best price. The market's going to reward competence. Who is confidently waiting to trade the best setup at the best price? If you're not confident in what you're trading, then you don't have competence. You need to develop experience with the best setup at the best price and become confident through trading just that and not random trading setups. I would encourage you to join Trader Society. It's a one-time fee. It's a lifetime access. The prices will go up. And I'm telling you, man, we will do big things in the future. We will have 100,000 people in this program. And I'm telling you, when we have a green day, $1,000 average on person, that's $100 million. And we're going to be doing very, very powerful things as a collective, as a whole. And the best time to get in is now because we're still considered a small team. We just passed over 1,100 members, which is still fairly small. But in terms of the reach, that's a crazy conversion. I only have like 10,000 subs. So with that being said, it's the best time to join, man. And we're going to be doing very, very big things. I'm going to be meeting Dimitri this year. I'm going to be meeting some students this year. There's going to be big things in the future, man. We're in big talks with creating software, with starting a potential hedge fund. We're in big talks of doing big things because we are true believers and we have true confidence and competence within the consistency of the accuracy of the strategy of targeting oversold, low gaps that support for reversals and overbought gaps for reversals. It consistently works. It's just the thing is, if you're not going to consistently do what works and get off track and trade in the middle and trade a bunch of shit setups, then yeah, you're going to get back all the profits you made from trading the best setups at the best prices to those shitty setups, right? And most people don't have that discipline. You need to be a different breed. You must be completely different than the normal retail trader. And that's what I'm trying to do for you. I'm trying to make you self-sufficient to just trade the best setups at the best prices because that is what is going to lead to the best results in the long term. If you do what is just best for your portfolio and trade this strategy and nothing else, you will get the best results. You don't have to sit here and watch charts all day. You don't have to sit here and make lotto trades. You don't have to sit here and make gambles. The one who's going to get the best results in the long term is the one who is patiently waiting to trade the best setup at the best price. Just do that. With that being said, if you want to join, is the first link down below in the description. Like I said, it's the best time to join Trader Society. I will see you guys tomorrow live at Market Open. In terms of a great lotto trade that I had, this was one of my lotto trades. I'm going to show you this pattern right here. Take a look at this pattern. This is what I call the green, red, green pattern. See the green, red, green 30-minute chart. What does it do on the next 30-minute candle? It goes up. It has a breakout. See the green, red, green slanted sideways. What does it do? It goes up for 2 hours straight. See the green, red, green slanted sideways. What does it do? It goes up. So Will, why did you decide to buy calls as soon as this 30-minute candle right here closed? Why did you buy calls right here towards the lows at $412? Why did you decide to buy calls for a very, very nice breakout to 413? Why did you do that as a lotto trade? The reason why I did that is because of the pattern. Green, red, green, sideways slanted. What happens on the next 30-minute candle? It breaks out. Green, red, green, sideways slanted candle. What does it do on the next 30-minute candle? It breaks out. Green, red, green, sideways slanted. What does it do on the next 30-minute candle? It breaks out. Do you see how it breaks out, right? I played calls on that. Oh my gosh, when people made a quick 25% like that in a light, man, they love that one. And I called out the pattern in advance. I prepared them. I said, look at the pattern, guys. Look at what it did yesterday. Green, red, green, sideways slant. It goes super bullish. Green, red, green, sideways slant. It goes super bullish for 30 minutes. Green, red, green, sideways slant. It goes super bullish for 30 minutes. That's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to catch trends. I'm going to show you how to catch patterns. You can use what I'm teaching you in terms of these price action trades at the gaps. If you see these patterns forming at the gaps, you could use them at the gaps too, right? I'm going to show you how to trade the best setups, the best prices. I'm going to show you how to master price action. I'm telling you, you join this program, you're going to be performing at a level like no one's ever performed at before in terms of what anyone else is teaching you. You're going to be able to show your friends and family how you're accurately trading and reading stock charts. And you can get started with a Webull paper trading account, right? The biggest traders within Trader Society who are making 5 figures, they're trading live with TD Ameritrade. That's who they use. It's a phenomenal broker, and that's who I'd recommend. It's great 24/7 customer service, great broker to be scalping options with. It's worth paying the commission, and they have fantastic customer service 24/7, right? That's who I would recommend using. But if you want to practice first and trade with paper money, do that with Webull. Webull has a great live paper trading platform. Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade does not have a good paper trading platform. It's delayed. It's not a good platform for paper trading. It's only good for real time. But use Webull, paper trade, test out the strategy. Or if you want to gain experience with the strategy with real money, just start small. If you have a large account, just start small. Just do 1 or 2 contracts. Start gaining experience. Start mastering what it is that I'm teaching you. I'm telling you guys, this is the best thing you could possibly doing within the market. So please start experimenting with it. Start gaining confidence through it. That's going to make you competent. You need to master something. I can't just sit here and tell you to buy puts at 414. It's not as simple as that, even though it kind of is in a sense, but trading is a lot more than that. You need experience. You need to master this. You need to dedicate your time to mastering this one simple strategy. Who's going to trade the gaps the best? That's who I'm surrounding myself with. Who's going to trade the best setups at the best prices the best way possible? Who's going to manage their risk accordingly, right? So if you want to join and surround yourself with a community who is dedicated to trading just the best setups at the best prices, and I'm telling you, the alerts that people are giving out, it's unreal. Top G and Dimitri, they're buying puts and calls at the exact lows. They're top ticking and bottom ticking it perfectly. I traded their trades today, and I did very, very well along with my trades on top of that. But with that being said, if you want to surround yourself with this network and with this community who has access to this information, and you're also going to have access to the gap trading system, which is my decades of experience where I teach you step by step all of the gap trading strategies. I teach you risk management and position sizing. We discuss options. I also teach you psychology and mindset to trading. If you want the entire gap trading system, if you want the network and the community to be surrounded by very successful traders, if you want the key levels, this is where I prepare people in the pre-market and during market trading hours, the best setups at the best prices. And in terms of the SPY floor, the amount of money that is being transacted within the SPY floor is unreal. Every single day, there's tens of thousands of dollars being made within minutes on a single trade. Dimitri buys puts at the top. It drops 10 minutes later. He makes $7,000. A bunch of people made the trade. They make $1,000. They make $500. The amount of money that's being transactioned through this SPY floor is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Every single day, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars just being transacted through the SPY floor. They're not all wins, but the losses are fairly small and the wins are fairly decent. We have a phenomenal risk to return ratio, right? And in terms of the trading system, what I do is I prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices, and then I alert my trades in real time. When it's the best setup at the best price, I alert my trade here. When it's more of a lotto trade, not the best setup at the best price, but a decent trade, I alert it in the SPY floor, right? But I only recommend people to trade the key levels and to trade the best setups at the best prices. Like I said, the reason why the polls are phenomenal is because these people chose to mainly just focus on trading the best setup at the best price, which was buying calls at 408. That's where the mass majority of that success came from. We had many lotto trades that did very, very well, and success came from that in terms of my end, but I have a lot more experience and I'm a lot more professional, and I don't recommend that for beginners. I don't recommend that for truly anybody unless you are super successful and have a large account and you're already living off of trading and you want to experiment with different patterns, different strategies, more of lotto trades that aren't good, aren't the best setups, the best prices, and you're taking smaller size and you want to learn more, then be my guest, just trade price action, not as good. But for all the people here, you just need to focus on trading the best setups, the best prices. And then once you become super successful, if you want down the road, you can start experimenting with other strategies, right? If you're trying to do the lotto trades in the SPY floor, if you're trying to do that, you can try paper trading those, get experience with just price action at first, get a feel for it. You can combine what you're learning with the lotto trades on the SPY floor with the best setups at the best price. Because in the SPY floor, people are stacking price action, support, resistance, indicators. They're stacking everything it is that they know into one trade, but it's not the best setup at the best price, but it's a decent trade, but it's not the best. If you want to be the best, you got to trade the best setups at the best prices, and that's what the key levels are for. And we trade the key levels in the SPY floor. We also go live on stream, right? So again, I want to congratulate my team because this is a massive improvement to go from 60 to 70% of people being green to now almost 95% plus. Like, it's absolutely insane, man. So let's keep it up. And now you know what we should be doing. You should be watching the videos, and let's just keep doing this. Keep it super simple. This is not a time-consuming strategy. Let's continue to target overbought and oversold gaps, stocks that have massive gap ups, stocks that have massive gap downs, stocks that are within the SPY, within the SP500. Let's focus on liquid. Let's focus on where the wealth is. Let's focus on the big gap ups and the big gap downs. I will see you guys tomorrow live market open. If you want to join, it's the first link down below in the description.